So we're at the start of Advent, every year at Advent, in the first Sunday of Advent, I say the same thing, so I'll say it now just to get it out of the way. What does Advent mean? Advent means coming or arrival. You might talk about the advent of other things in life, the advent of the phone, the advent of the iPhone, for example. The same kind of word is used when something is arriving on the scene. In Advent, there's two layers. First layer is we, of course, are looking for Christ's coming as we remember at Christmas Christ coming to earth. But specifically in the church, and this is tricky for us, but this is what it's about. The season is about looking for Christ's return or his second coming. And so that's why the songs we've already sung today were songs that look forward to Christ's return. Very confusing because in the world, as I said a couple of weeks ago, they're already playing Christmas carols everywhere. Advent carols are kind of different. Advent songs are this sense of calling Jesus back and looking for that to happen. So verse 36 in our text, and I've got it on the screen, says, "But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." Nobody knows when Christ is coming back. Now, if you've got a Bible and it has the words of Jesus in red, you would see that this passage is all in red. I find it quite annoying, actually, when I'm on the computer and cutting and pasting the words from my software I use. So I cut the text and then paste it, because then my whole sermon is now in red, because it's copied the red as well. But these are all words Jesus said. So Jesus is speaking, and he is talking about his return. And if you notice, it says he doesn't know when it's going to be. Even Jesus doesn't know. So, when you come across preachers or YouTubers or whatever they are telling you they know the day when Jesus will return, you have to ask yourself, well, how is it that Jesus doesn't even know, but these people seem to know? Nobody knows. It's like, angels, do you know when Jesus is coming back? I don't know. Jesus, do you know when you're coming back? I don't know. I don't know. I've heard and used the phrase, I don't know, quite a lot in my life before ordination. Some of you know I worked in a railway station for some time, Birmingham New Street Station in the middle of England, and I was expected to know everything. It's kind of different to the church. In the church, people expect I know nothing, I'm just the priest. But in the railway station, I was expected to know everything. And so people would come and ask me different kinds of questions, and I'd try and find an answer. After my time in the station, I went to work in the offices doing stuff with databases and computers and things, which is what I find myself doing in the church too. But anyway, and there was a day when there was a bomb scare at the station. So it did happen now and again. And it wasn't a bomb, and it was actually some high school student had left his technology project on the train, and somebody saw wires and things coming out of it and assumed it was a bomb, and so they shut down the station for 2 hours, and this is in the middle of the network. So you can imagine the thousands of people and hundreds of trains that were delayed all across the country. When Birmingham New Street sneezes, England's railways catch a cold, was kind of what you could say. So they called all the staff kind of back into the station from the head office to come and help the customers. So I came back and to the station. I hadn't worked in there for a while, and I went to see the station manager. I said, right, I'm here to help. And I was given a beautiful orange vest to wear, which is always great when there's hundreds of very angry, very delayed people, and you're wearing bright orange, and my face kind of goes bright red, because that's just what it does. So I'm there in my red face and orange jacket, and I said to the manager of the station, I said, so what am I going to tell the customers? I don't know. I said, well, do we know like when the trains are running or which ones are going to be cancelled? I don't know. Just go out there and do your thing. So there I was, and I went out there and I did my thing, and I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what was going to go on. The timetable was useless because it was just worth recycling the paper at that point because everything was chaos. And essentially, I was there saying, I don't know. When's the train coming? I'm not sure. Well, how will we know? You'll hear an announcement. And so it went on. But that's the joke about staff on the railways in Britain, is that you go and ask them a question, and probably the answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We don't know the day or the hour when Jesus will return. We just don't know. So what was it like? Jesus says in verse 37, it was like in the days of Noah. It was like that. That's how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. What was it like in the days of Noah? Well, in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking. They were marrying and giving in marriage. As in, they were doing ordinary stuff. They were going about life up until the day when Noah entered the ark. They knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them away. It will be like that. Well, that's not particularly helpful, is it, for us? One commentator says, the implication is that it's possible to prepare for the second coming of Christ, not by calculating its date, but by a life that's lived in constant readiness and response to God. There will apparently only be two categories, the prepared and the unprepared. Further on in the text, it says there were two men in a field, and one stayed there, and one was taken away. And there were women who were doing hand milling, I presume grinding some grain, and one was taken, and one was left. The being taken is pointing towards salvation. So it's not that they're taken away in a bad way, they're taken in a good way into salvation. And I think I've made this joke before. If not, I should have done. But men, stay away from fields. And women, don't do any hand milling, and then you'll be safe. You have to think about that one. Yeah, one person got it. That's fine. I won't give up my day job. But you can read the text and go, well, don't go in fields then, and don't do those things. The point is, they were doing the same kind of work as each other, two people. They're both there working in the field, or they're both there doing their milling. They're not in a different place physically, but spiritually, they almost certainly were in a different place, because one was ready and one was not. And then Jesus uses this image of a thief coming. If you know a thief is coming to your house, you would call the police in advance and you say, right, I'm going to get burgled at this time on this day. Can you please make sure you've got the team there ready to catch them in the act? It's not like that. You don't know the day or the hour. So, that's all quite scary and depressing. Because if we knew the day or the hour, then we could prepare for it. Jesus is telling us, because you don't know when, you need to live in a way that you're ready. And so Advent is a season that pulls us in. It may even pull us back to church if we've been away for a while, with this reminder that Christ is coming. And so, be ready. Verse 44. No one knows, but it was like the days of Noah. Verse 44, be ready. Be ready. Because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you don't expect him. Be ready. It's like natural disasters. Anytime there's a natural disaster, it reminds us that we really should go and buy one of those big Red Cross earthquake kits to have in our house, and we should have one in our car. Some of you are really organized. I'm guessing on this side of the room, you all have your earthquake kits. Is that right? I don't know. Raise a hand. Do you have an earthquake kit in your house? Yeah. And then if you have an earthquake kit, Keep your hand up if you've checked the dates of the supplies. I have an earthquake kit, yeah. It's collecting dust in the corner. And I feel like at some point I should probably check that the granola bars that I hope I never have to eat are still, haven't grown any mold or anything on them. But you have these things that happen. Maybe this winter we'll get snow or we'll get flooding. In the summer it's droughts and fires. And as these things happen, they are a way of reminding us that we need to be prepared for those kinds of eventualities. If you haven't got a snow shovel in the back of your car, today's the day you're going to go home from church and get that snow shovel from the back of the garage or the back of the closet and stick it in the car, because you never know, you might need it soon. Be ready. The Son of Man, like a burglar, doesn't advertise the time he arrives. He doesn't even know when it's going to be. Only the Father goes. So one commentator says, the only precaution we can take is readiness. How do we get ready? How do we live in a state of readiness? Well, you're halfway there because you're here today. We're invited in Advent to draw closer to Jesus. We're invited to take time to prepare again a space in our hearts for Him. Maybe you did have a lot of space in your heart for Jesus, but gradually you filled it with other things. Cars, houses, cruises and fine holidays, friends, work, all these things we fill our hearts with. Maybe you need to again create a bit more space for Jesus in your heart and your life. The Soccer World Cup is coming to Vancouver. Have you heard that? Yep. And it's coming next summer. Sadly, most of us locals won't get any tickets. There was a thing with one of the big Canadian banks, the one that likes to claim it's royal, and I got an email saying you can sign up to win a chance to buy tickets, but only 2 tickets. And I'm thinking, well, that's not really going to work, is it? Because if we can only buy 2 tickets, then, which ones of us in the family would get to go? We know, someone just said me. We know it's coming. It's just good when people listen. We know it's coming. The World Cup is coming. But we also know we probably won't be on the inside when it does. Don't be like that with Jesus. We know He's coming, and we can get tickets. Jesus says, keep watch, be ready. Being ready really is what church is all about. Being ready is why we come Sunday by Sunday. Being ready is why we have a service here every day. I'm really excited and proud about that, that every single day our church has a time when people can come and worship. A lot of churches don't do that. Even big cathedrals, they have loads of things going on, but the regularity of, could somebody come and worship today if they wanted to? And so I'm really, really proud that we have people that make that happen here. And it's not just me. I'm not here all the time. And we have a team of people who make sure prayer is happening every single day. It's a sense as a community that we're ready. We're living in a state of readiness. It doesn't mean we all need to be here every day, but that it means when you miss church on Sunday and you have a Wednesday off, you could come on Wednesday. Being ready means keeping our eyes on Jesus, worshiping Him. It means praying, reading our Bibles, attending our life groups, serving in the church here, serving out in the community in the volunteer roles we take. Taking our faith onto our front lines. Faith is about ministry on Monday and Tuesday and all the other days, and not just about having a happy time here on Sunday. be ready. If you'd like to know more about Jesus and you've never spent time reading a gospel, the quickest, easiest gospel you can read is Mark's gospel. It will take you about an hour and a quarter, and I'm a slow reader. Do not start with Genesis if you have never read the Bible. Start with Mark's gospel. Just over an hour, you'll get a good picture of who Jesus is and what he did. And if you don't like reading, BibleGateway.com will play a wonderful narration so you can listen. So maybe you have some other chores to do in the house. You want to finally organize your battery drawer or your cutlery drawer, and you can just listen to Mark's gospel as you do, or any other drawer. If you'd like to sign up to Alpha, that's starting in January 18th. The website's already got the sign up, and that's where we'll explore faith in Jesus in a few sessions. And if you've never done it, I highly recommend the Alpha course. Maybe you're ready to take a step of faith. We have a baptism Sunday coming up on December the 14th, and I've got some people that want to be baptized, and that's super exciting, and there's space for a few more. There's plenty of water to go around. So that is a chance to make a public declaration of faith, and to say, I want to take that step in front of my church. So if you believe in Jesus and accept him as Lord, and you haven't taken the step of baptism, then please talk to me. No one knows the day or the hour that Christ will return. And if they tell you they do, they are claiming they're God. Because even Jesus says, the Son of Man doesn't know. So in the meantime, keep on living a life ready to meet him when he does return. Make space in your heart this Advent for Jesus. Amen.